Hola, this is the Getting to Ramen podcast, and I'm Joshua Anderton. Hey, Josh here. So I thought I'd record a quick episode today. I missed last week just because it was such a busy week, and one of the reasons why is because I actually started another business. So in the spirit of Rob Walling's stair-step approach, I decided that I was going to start a productized service business, editing podcasts, because it's something that I'm interested in. I really enjoy digital audio. I spent years recording albums for different bands, and so which is funny. I'm finding more and more is kind of a common history for a lot of makers. I think it's like for indie hackers and for really just like generalist style founders, they all seem to have other types of creative outlets that are unrelated to business that they came from, whether it's music or art or etc. So that's been kind of interesting to learn from people. But anyways, started this productized service business, and already have a couple of clients, which is a real surprise. I haven't actually done any advertising yet. I just put up a landing page and announced it on Twitter, told a few people. So that's been really cool. But starting that up and kind of getting into the flow took up a lot of my time last week, and so I ended up just missing an episode. I also it's interesting, the last few weeks I've been doing interviews with entrepreneurs, and that wasn't actually the plan in the beginning. Initially it was just going to be me talking on this thing, and then Jane from Userlist reached out about having Benedict Dyka on the podcast, and that just seemed like a great opportunity, and that kind of kicked off some momentum where there were just a bunch of opportunities to talk with people. Some of them I reached out to, some of them reached out to me. And so that's where these last few episodes have come from. So it was really, really kind of organic, and it wasn't really planned. But I decided I'm just going to kind of see where this goes, follow the momentum until it slowed down, and it slowed down. And what was really fun was I had made a list of a few people that I really wanted to interview on a show, on a podcast at some point, and a few of the people were actually on that list. So that was pretty cool. Ben Ornstein, Matt Wensing, Justin Jackson, and some of the others. They were all kind of on this list initially. So it was really cool to be able to, within the first couple of months of launching this podcast, getting to have them on and chatting. I learned so much about how much I talk and how bad I am at getting out my thoughts and communicating quickly and clearly. But one of the takeaways from all of those episodes for me was that I got to see a lot of different people's journeys to having a successful business or project, and everybody's journey is so different, and it's really hard for somebody else to come in and tell you how to run your business or tell you which direction is best for you and in your career or whatever. And so I found myself, each episode was kind of like leaning in different directions. It was like after the episode with Benedict Dyka, I was like, man, I got to find some co-founders, because this is clearly the best way to move forward is to find people that are good at the things that you're not good at, to team up. And then I went and had the conversation with Matt Wensing, where he was very much for going solo, doing the solo founder route, and had some really really interesting points as to why in 2019 it doesn't really make sense anymore to have co-founders. You don't really need them depending on the product that you're building. And obviously that was another point of view. Then there was my conversation with Justin Jackson, where he kind of explained to me how he felt that people were moving away from Medium, which is also something that I've been seeing, and that my best bet would probably be to either sell Upscribe or just let it fizzle out and start a brand new business. And starting from scratch was kind of one of the only options and was a little bit overwhelming for me to think about. But then I have this conversation with Landon and Kyle from UserFeed, and they're talking about how they've used customer feedback to build a product called Ad Reform for an industry that they didn't know much about. And it was like, man, maybe I can go to this customer base that I've already built and shift the product towards something that maybe no longer relies on Medium's support, and also provides more value to the customers that I already have and that I've already built a rapport with. And so ultimately I ended up there. I went back to my customer base and I sent an email out to my paid customers and just said, hey, if I was to build some email marketing tools into Upscribe, would you use them, and what features would you want? And surprisingly, a lot of the first responses that I got said that they were already using Upscribe as their main email marketing tool. There's a really basic email sending feature in Upscribe that I added because somebody requested it. Just integrated SendGrid and allowed for like really basic, basically broadcasts that you could send out to the people that have subscribed to your Upscribe forms. And several people were already using this feature. And because it wasn't the focus of the product, I hadn't been paying attention to the usage. So I didn't realize that while I was trying to figure out where to go next with the product, my customers were already using it for something that it wasn't built for, and finding value there. So now I've got feedback from people that are already paying me as to what they would like to see added to the product, and it's validated. They're already paying for it. They're already getting value out of it, and they're using it. So this doesn't mean that I'm in the clear yet. At the same time, Upscribe's revenue does seem to be peaking. So I hit $5,000 a month in revenue. I think it was in March, and it hasn't gone. It went up to 5,500, and then it's kind of come back down and is now in the 49.50 range. And so it's basically just been like stuck there for almost a year now. So I'm definitely not in the clear yet, but I have confidence now that I can go back to these customers that I've been serving for almost 3 years and just figure out how I can do that better. So that's been a bit of a roller coaster, but I'm excited about it. I do think that it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of talking to customers to find out how I can differentiate from tools like MailChimp and Revu and the other ones out there. I would prefer to niche fairly hard, so lean more into like email marketing for software as a service companies, and just do features that SaaS companies would need. So as an example, that may not be the best way to go, but yeah, that's where I'm at. These solo episodes I won't make too long, but thanks for listening. Would really love your feedback. It's always super encouraging when people reach out and say that they're listening to the podcast, And if you've gotten anything from the last few episodes, that would be so cool to hear about. If you haven't checked out Upscribe, I would love your feedback, because if you're listening to this, you're probably a software developer or a founder or entrepreneur of some sort. So you would have you would have an opinion. So if you want to check out Upscribe and try out the basic email sending features that I've got on there, I'd love to know what you think. Tweet at me at Joshua Anderton or at Getting to Ramen, and find the rest of the episodes at ramen.fm or on whatever podcast player you prefer to use. Yeah. Goodbye. Farvel. That's goodbye in Danish. Look at that. You did learn something today.